Hi, my name's Phil. I like to talk about politics, and in this video I'd like to discuss another self-doxing of a far-right hate merchant on Twitter. This one, I suppose, even more entertaining because he made it explicitly clear that he thinks it's right for people to be sacked for expressing their political views. And he's now whining like a brat because he's facing the sack for expressing his political views. But first, for daily political commentary, please hit the subscribe button to stay notified. So, after one hate merchant on Twitter, Inevitable West, outed himself as being a Hindu rather than a fake gammon Christian, we have another self-dox. Ben Woods, who runs the Ben on Wine Twitter account, is complaining about facing disciplinary action by his employer, the supermarket chain Waitrose. He's also arguing that the Reform UK Party Exposed account on Twitter was the one that exposed him and has made up lies about him. It's like, well, no, they weren't. They just posted what he had already said. So all of this out in public. But anyway, what's the story here for those out of the loop? I've only known this account be used really for spreading far-right hate and conspiracy theories. It's incredibly Islamophobic, praises Enoch Powell, attacks trans people. The forward, basically, imagine every textbook talking point from the hateful far right, and this account echoes them all. But as the name of the account suggests, it appears it was originally set up to discuss wine. The account owner, Ben Woods, works at Waitrose as one of their wine specialists, hence why he created an account called Ben on Wine. So he wasn't exactly hiding who he was. In fact, he has used the Twitter account for work purposes. He has a crowdfunder, which I'll get onto, where he even posts a photo of him using the Twitter account for his work purposes. He didn't even have the wit to create a new account to spread his hateful views. Mind you, he may still have come a cropper by one day accidentally posting something from the wrong account, like Inevitable West did, but not even attempting to separate his political hate spewing from his work. I mean, did he not think that risked backfiring? He has been reportedly suspended from Waitrose. This, of course, will be because it would be an insane commercial decision to allow an employee to engage in activities which are counter to what they claim are their core values. But to do so from a Twitter account which he was using for work-related activities is utterly ridiculous. Because if Waitrose had let him get away with it, then they would be complicit. At the very least, they're going to have to tell him he can't post these views anymore. And I've got no sympathy with him. I am actually quite liberal. My view is if certain statements are harmful, they should be covered by hate speech laws rather than employers sacking people for them. However, everyone else is subject to the same rules. Like you see reports of no end of teachers, for example, losing their jobs because of what are actually harmless activities, not at all linked to their jobs in any way, all perfectly legal, but something that parents are funny about. And so you end up getting sacked because of that. As a teacher, I knew anything I did or said in public had to not conflict with the reputation of whichever school or college I was working at the time. You can express political views in a job. Obviously, two rules, right? First, you do not express views which are attacks on your employer's customers. Second, if you insist, don't use a platform which is directly linked with your employment. The fact that Woods is whining like a bitch is just rank hypocrisy as well. When the far right attempted to pile on Gary Lineker, remember that, for expressing views on Twitter, and those views were not expressions of hate, they were expressions of solidarity, Ben Woods called for him to be sacked. So he is on record as saying people should be sacked for their political views. I would have more sympathy if he was at least consistent, if he defended the right of others to air their views, even if they disagreed with his own, as much as he demands others defend his rights, right? I still won't have much sympathy because expressing views which are intended to make innocent people suffer fear or anxiety are never acceptable. And in fact, going back to that complaint he has about, oh, his Twitter account's making up lies about you. No, they're not. They're just literally posting what you posted. They're just effectively screenshotting it and posting it up for everyone else. But what this guy is doing is telling lies about people. But if he'd at least defended other people's rights to say what they feel, you could at least say, well, he's playing by his own rules, right? But by his own rules, Mr. Woods should accept that his views have the potential to lose his employer, customers. And so, especially for someone who's right-wing, right, would understand the commercial decision. Not, again, I don't think he has been sacked, just been suspended pending investigation. The result of that investigation may well be, you need to stop insulting our customers. But it may be that he does lose his job. So, of course, he's now tried to make an issue of it to put pressure on his bosses. But another case of risking the Streisand effect here. By raising the profile of the case, yes, he gets some sympathetic reporting in the likes of the Daily Mail, GB News, the Telegraph. But he also risks actual Waitrose customers finding out and then going, oh, I'm going to write to Waitrose and say to them, I expect the company to take a zero tolerance approach to their employees expressing hatred towards people like me. You know, like how many retail workers would expect to be able to insult their customers and keep their jobs? How many workers in general? But to do so from an account that you used for work, I mean, that's what blows me away. He can't even claim that his personal and professional life is separate and should be treated as separate, which it never is where customer relations are concerned. You always have to be careful. But he cannot even make that argument. He literally combined work-related posts with his hate posts on the same account. And he's launched a crowdfunder, as I say, to beg for help. I'm not going to link it. It's easy enough to find if you want. But for such a prominent account, doesn't seem to have got very far. It's like a few £1,000s. And in his plea, he tries to push all the buttons to elicit the far-right sympathy. Oh, I'm this, I'm this, I'm this, I'm this, I'm this. I'm one of you, you see. You should give me money. But he's also begging Elon Musk to help out. Elon, mate, I'm being sacked for helping to spread your messages, my messiah. Help me out. Now, maybe that'll work. Who knows? Maybe Musk will go, I'll chuck you a couple of million just to stick it to the woke brigade. And then he won't care about losing his job. Can become a full-time shit poster with enough in the bank to live comfortably for the rest of his life. Or maybe Musk won't actually care enough to lift a finger. And no, Woods is not having his freedom of speech curtailed. It is standard in employment contracts to not bring your employer into disrepute. Well, trans people use Waitrose. So do Muslims. So do liberals in general. Gary Lineker might even. So do the sort of people Woods attacks and makes up conspiracy theories about on a regular basis. So the victims of his attacks will therefore see any employer being happy with these activities as being disreputable, won't they? Of course they will. A clearer case of bringing your employer into disrepute, I cannot imagine. So he can live by the same rules that everyone else has to. I would never have done anything to insult the parents or students of any school or college I worked at as a teacher, nor do or say anything to cause them problems. Most other workers understand the same rules. And if you don't like those rules, use an anonymous account to spread your hate. Basically, if you're going to be a secret dick, don't dox yourself. Because now the guy who argued for others to lose their job because he didn't like their much more mainstream political views is whining like an absolute fanny because he's having to face consequences for his own, stupidity more than hate. Like, the hate didn't get him into this situation. Had he posted his political comments from a different account and gave no clues as to identity, he would still be happily shitting on our communities with zero consequences to himself. But there we are. Those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. If you've enjoyed the video, please click the like button and subscribe for further content. If you'd like to support the channel further, click the join button for memberships. Thanks for watching, and until next time, I'll see you later.